Hello everyone, my name is Patrick Frawley and I'm your product specialist for tractors. Today you join me here at our Class UK headquarters in Saxham, and in this short video I'm going to take you through a walkthrough of our overview procedure on CEMOS for tractors in terms of getting some basic recommendations for ballasting, tyre pressures and field compaction.
So, you now join me back up in the cab of our CEMOS C-Matic tractor, looking at our onboard optimization system known as CEMOS, which we can see the new menu for here along the right hand side. Popping in here, you'll remember that we already had a look at our configuration menu in the previous couple of videos in terms of setting up the machine, but how do we use the system on a day-to-day basis? Well, when we're in the yard in the morning and we want to know what the correct tyre pressures and the correct ballasting are for today's application, what we need to do is come into firstly our overview tab, and then secondly into our basic tractor settings tab down in the bottom. First thing it's going to ask us is that we're still pulling the implement that we have uploaded through our implement management, so our horse tiger that you can see annotated here. We know that we already are, so we can tap the next arrow, and from there then it wants to know a little bit of basic information about the field that we're going into. So first thing it asks us is, what is the soil moisture for today's application? Now we're coming into autumn cultivations, as you say. Harvest is slowly winding down, but we've had a little bit of dew this morning, so I know that the soil moisture of the field today is going to be more in the region of normal. From there then, it wants to know a little bit about soil type, and you can see that we can go from either easy to average to difficult. Easy being more of a sandy soil, difficult maybe being more like a heavy red clay soil, for example. Again, where we are today in the field that we're going into, I'm going to stick with our average option here. From there then, the next thing it wants to know is, what is our soil condition? So this means, what is the state of the field before you do anything to it? So are you driving into a grassland field, for example? Or maybe it's already had a set of discs over the top to try and get the grass and the weeds to germinate for spraying off. But again, we're after harvest, so I know that we're going into a stubble field in this example. From there then, the last thing it wants to know is, what depth are we working to? And again, three simple options: shallow, medium or deep, with a rough gauge of depths alongside them. And with our horse tiger today, we're going to be going to a medium depth, so we're going to choose medium in this example. 4 simple questions. We then tap on our next arrow. It then wants us to make sure that we choose the tires. Now, in this example, I can choose my front tires, being the 660/30 front tires on the front axle of the machine. So selecting that option. And then from there then, the rear tires, I'm choosing my 710/70/42 tires on the rear of the machine. Making sure that those are all uploaded now, it then has us an ability to toggle from either singles to duals. Not having any duals today, so we're going to leave it on the single option. From there then, tapping on the next arrow, it then asks me, do we want to use a rear linkage mounted weight? Now, granted, not a very common thing to be done in the UK and the Irish markets, but nevertheless, if you do find that you're using a rear linkage mounted weight for anything, we then have the ability to have that here as well. But we're going to choose no in this example and tap next. From there then, it recommends the ballasting for the implement that we're pulling correct for the conditions that we've just told it that we're going into. So it is saying for our horse tiger on the back of this tractor, for the field conditions that we've just outlined, that we need 750 kilos over the front and 0 kgs in the wheel weights. But say for example, if I don't have exactly 750 and maybe the closest number or the closest weight that I have available is 900, I can choose here manually, so I can select manually, choose 900. It can then see that we have the CEMOS recommended value of 750, but the actual value of 900. Very important that you do tell the tractor what you are actually using, because it will have quite a good effect on the tire pressures that it recommends on the next page. So we hit the tick to confirm, and we tap the next arrow. It then moves into recommending our tire pressures. So for today's application and the tire pressures for the tires that we have on the machine and the field conditions that we've just outlined, it's recommending 0.7 bar in the front and 0.8 bar in the rear axle. Now, I don't have it on this particular machine, but if I had CTIC, our class tire inflation system, on this tractor, there would be a third box down the bottom here where it would allow me to upload these pressure values directly to the tires. You'd select that, you would hear the compressor kick in, and you would see the tire pressures directly change at the tap of one single button. So a very, very good little feature. But in today's example, with no compressor or no inflation system fitted on the tractor, I would have to come out with my pressure gauge and adjust them manually. Hitting tick to confirm that I've done that, and tapping the next arrow. From there then, it moves on to a soil compaction recommendation. So for all of our implement data, our field information that we've told it, the ballasting that we have on the machine, and the tire pressures that we have on the machine as well, it is now saying that we have a slight compaction risk up to 15 centimeters deep on our front axle, and a slight compaction risk up to 30 centimeters deep on our rear axle, and everything else is no compaction risk. Hitting the tick to confirm, that would then update our tabs along the top row of our overview page here. So currently we can see our ballasting with our recommended and actual values here, our tires in terms of what models we're using, and then also the tire pressures that we have in as well. Thirdly, then the implement information in terms of what we are pulling and the field conditions that we have outlined as well. And then lastly, the overview of our recommendations for any damage that we might be doing to our soil in terms of compaction as well. From here then, we would then move on to the field, and we would actually go into our optimization system here, which we can then use our implement setup or our dialogue while we're in the field, but we'll have a look at that in another video.
So, thank you for watching, everybody. If you have any further questions about anything you've seen in today's video, don't hesitate to contact your local dealer.